again, I welcome you to a new episode of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History. And the witness today on the Tunde Laniyan podcast is still Felix Omuni. We have started by looking at his journey from his early age to when he started doing drama in secondary school, while in school in Ogwashiku, and how he entered the NTA as one of the pioneers of the department units of the drama and theatre at the NTA Badon. Went to Ife for training in theatre and to the NTV College in Jos. And we've been sharing on the application of his expertise in the theatre. Now, you are talking about scripting, and that was where we stopped last time. And I was saying that that's an area that we need to talk more about because it's an area of great weakness. And that weakness is critical because if you don't cure it, the products usually would not be good, would not be as good as they should be. To be comparable to what we import from the other clients, Europe, America, where scripts are properly detailed. Where they are properly detailed. Those who do detailing in scripts, there are not many that I know. And I want you to pay more attention to that so that we can look at what should be done in terms of increasing skills and capacity in that area to give us most satisfactory results.
Yeah. If a production is going to be successful or not, it starts from the script. Now, you write a script. Before you become a script writer, you must have been a trained script writer. Not just because sometimes you will just have the flair to write.
Yes.
That's not enough.
I'm interested in script writing.
I'm interested in that. Go through the rudiments.
But you need to be trained.
You need to be trained.
Learn the techniques
because,
and things.
For instance, ordinarily, no scene should be more than 3 minutes, except for exceptional scenes.
Yeah.
And then the dialogue. Sometimes we don't care. You created a character, Dr. So and so, this. And there's a difference between character and characterization.
Yeah.
You create your character, fine, he's a lawyer. If he's a lawyer, what kind of lawyer
is he?
Is he? Break it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's a doctor, what kind of doctor? Break it down. Then his age, his temperament, and all. Up to the way he dresses, his background.
You give him his
background and all that.
Yeah.
You break it down so that this will affect the way he dresses, the way he talks, the things he likes and dislikes.
Yes.
Okay, you write a script and you say somebody is just managing to survive, and then because somebody now gave you a location to use and it's a big mansion, you say the man, that's his house.
Opulent.
The opulent house and the man who is just trying to survive, do they match?
No, they don't.
The fact that somebody gave you what to use does not mean you just... The question they will ask is, this man owns this. You understand?
Yeah.
These things should match. Even the costuming.
How is he maintaining that kind of...
Those details, they matter a lot.
Yeah.
And it starts from your writing. Before you even start writing, you may just have the story. Now, the story, you want to break it down. Who are in this story? Who and who? What type of woman? What type of lady? What type of girl? What kind of family are they from? what's the setup, what kind of job do they have, that you break these things down so that in their dealings with other people, this thing will reflect.
Yeah.
You don't just say he's a character, he can do this thing, and in the next scene you see the opposite of that same character and it's the same person. You have to be consistent.
Yeah. What are you projecting? And if you are making those choices, it must be because you want to drive that one message home.
So the script has to be solid.
Except you are saying the man is deceptive.
That, of course, would have been
part of the characterization.
It doesn't just come sudden like that. And
Yeah.
It's like, So the point is, why would I be watching a movie and I can go discuss somewhere, come back, I've not missed anything?
There must be nothing happening every time.
Something must be sustaining you, keeping your interest there.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next? Wow, come on. And then, if for instance, I'm watching a movie or a scene and then I predict what's going to happen next, and that's what's going to happen, and then I predict, well, why am I sitting there?
Why? Truly, why?
Why am I sitting there?
People
want to watch and say, wow. And then for weeks they'll be talking about that. Did you know that? People even want to learn from what you are dishing out.
Yeah.
You are using your production to teach
people.
You don't just do it with entertainment aspect and is aside, but you are teaching somebody.
There must be a story and it must develop. You must guide it
jealously
because there is an end in sight.
Yes.
That seems not to be the case.
Sometimes, somebody gave me a script some time ago, and after going through the script, I said, well, let me go back 20 years. Olubide was to produce a group, Yoruba group. But I just saw they were always coming, going. It's time they produce them. What's happening? They say their producer is not. I want to meet Olubide. Are you the producer? Why are you not answering to them? Say, well, they are not giving him what he wants. And I correct them, teach them. That's why you are the producer.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, is the name of the producer they are going to look for. Who produced this?
Who produced this?
I said, so. He was not interested. So, Begalawa was among them.
Okay.
So I went to sit. So the first thing they said was, they were looking at themselves, it's like, thinking, how would I understand the Yoruba? I just sat down and said, please, don't worry, I want to see your rehearsals. I didn't intercept or stop them. I was just jotting what I was jotting. When they finished, and I told them, I said, your scene 4 should be transferred to scene 1 and take scene 1 to 4. So when they did that, I just changed the scenes. And then I said, you are giving me this space as the living room and that spot to the bedroom. And then when you are going to the kitchen too, is that same place. Do you have your kitchen in your bedroom? I want to know. And then this idea you're doing, and then you want to be turning to face camera. Forget it. The camera will search for you.
Look for you.
Don't look for camera. That's their own business. Do your own. If this man offends me and I'm talking to him and everything, face him. Why would I say camera is there? Okay, I'm talking to camera, and meanwhile the person that
is on that side.
So, and then they gave this proverb in Yoruba. It doesn't match with the scene. When I now break it down to them, it was like, how did I understand that? I said it must match.
Yeah.
You don't just give proverb because you want to give a proverb.
Because you are a proverb speaker.
Yeah. But it doesn't match with the scene.
Yeah.
So by the time I told them and gave them all these corrections, I gave them 2 days to go and do those things, and then I want to see the rehearsal. And then when they came and they saw that, and then I produced them. Tomorrow, Boy will say, and that will be about their first time to come on
television.
They were enthusiastic and everything. So I said, look, they still have to be corrected.
Yeah.
It's a teamwork. Yeah. They've done theirs. At the end of the day, that's not an excuse for NTA Badon, the management, when you produce rubbish.
Yeah.
As the producer,
what did you do
what
with
did
the
you
material?
Do? That's it.
They have a raw material is for you to refine it.
Somehow, I'm lucky in the sense that as a writer, I also produce and direct. So I put all these things. Do you know that sometimes when I'm writing, I'm already thinking of camera position.
Yes.
As I'm writing.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the right costume, the camera, because I'm putting everything together.
Yeah, that's it. That's a big advantage.
Yeah.
I was talking to, I think, Professor Shego Jewi.
Okay.
And he was telling me the difference between his experience in producing in Nigeria and in the US. And he said he was doing a program. He was doing a play. And the thing had been given to the costumier. And the costumier had brought almost 60 different types of costumes, even before the rehearsal started. And he was wondering what was happening. In Nigeria, where would you find two or three costumes when you have 60 for just one character? Those are areas I believe we must continue to improve on. But we must pay attention. And like you said, which is where I was coming to.
Yes.
At times we don't respect the experts. We think the other people in different professions are experts. So in the theater, a lot of the time we don't consider that the producer, the director, even the actor, even at times, that they are experts, people to listen to. You still think, well, why is he telling me to do that? Just like you said, even while writing the script, you have considered a lot of things, including the lighting, the time of the day, the hour of the day, the relationship, and so many other things. So maybe those who are working in the theater, they need to have more training where all of these things can be brought into their consciousness.
Yes.
And people should consider them as experts, people to listen to, people to admire for their contribution. That also will be helped by the quality that you are delivering to the audience. Don't you think so?
It's a part of this thing is, some years back, I made a proposal to Polytechnic Ibadan for creative and media arts thing. In order to, because I felt you may have the interest, you may be enthusiastic about something, but you have to be trained.
Yeah.
So the training aspect was really, really there. But it's like they didn't know what so I went to Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. Somehow, when I explained to them, they bought the idea. And I'm sure that was the first time a Polytechnic will run a creative and media art thing.
Yeah.
They ran it for 1 year successfully, but me being their partner, they wanted to push me aside. And I said, well, I said, okay, let's close it. And what I designed the program in a way that it's 70% practical, 30% theory. And
of course, given that it's at the Polytechnic,
yes. I said, so when you are, after 1 year, you're giving your certificate, anywhere they call you for any production, they are sure of having the best from you.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the theory, the practical aspect will be 70%. So that it's not just you are saying it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And people can really see that
you demonstrated that over and over.
For instance, you are you major in in costume. You don't read the script without reading the character very well. You just think because it's a female, you don't get a female dress for him. What manner of female? Before you can start thinking of the costume, and then which scene, before you start considering what kind of costume will match this scene. And even in this scene, her character, what should she put on? If you say because you have expensive clothes, and then you give it to a civil servant who is just on level 3 or 4, and he has to be at a party, you just beyond, just because you have the costume, you've missed it.
Yeah.
Because I tell people, the technical aspect, even the camera, the lighting and everything, they ought to be given. Most of the time, they don't have the script. They will just tell them, "Is this scene?" Because I feel really. But if they have the script, they read it, they understand, they apply, they know what to really put in.
That's a grave weakness in the theater.
You know, so that everything will match. That's why I tell them that it's a teamwork. If one department fails it, the rest will crumble. No matter how excellent others have done theirs, just one department is there.
Outside of the NTA, I know that you've done a lot of work with other people in films and things.
Yes.
In other series. Talk to me about at least two of them that you enjoy working on or that you learn some lessons from.
Some time ago, Shola Fusdo was producing a series, and I was a member of cast. So Shola Fusdo got the director to do the work. He was not the one directing. But while on set, as the director was working on, and I felt something was wrong, but it would be unprofessional if I start correcting him openly. So they finished that scene, and then I called Chola and the director and said, "If you don't mind, can we reshoot that scene? What I observe is somebody is there. Fighting you, and I'm here mediating. I said, this guy carried something, the other guy has to snatch it. How would I here be able to stop that?
To intervene.
I said, so our sitting arrangement has to be changed so that the mediator will be in the middle. As he moves like that, I can stop him here.
So it's easy.
It's easier that way.
To get
and then
involved.
I corrected some dialogues there that doesn't match with the character.
Right.
And same thing happened when we were doing a series then, Spider. The producer changed the writers, and we'll be running it. It's a series, we'll be running for some time. But all of a sudden, we were in a particular scene at Abuja. We were in the scene. Myself and Aki Lewis. We are top. It's like we are bosses of our own organizations,
yes.
And we are friends. So normally, when we go out like that, we have, what we should have.
Yes.
And then we just found out they put bottles of beer on our table, and first I question, this is not right. What we should have here is brandy or wine, not beer. And then I was going through the dialogue, it doesn't match our character. So while I was busy correct, I called the director. He was a new director today. So I was telling him, and he was taking note and said, okay, that's true. Okay. So the thing took some time. So the cameraman and the floor managers, the producer was in Lagos, we were in Abuja, they called her to complain that I didn't know my lines. And so I was delaying production and all that. So she now called the director. The director now said, no, that what I did was to correct some things and which he agreed with and all that. So when we finished in Abuja, we rounded up. I went to the producer in Lagos. So when I was now telling her that this is a series, the characters have not changed. And we've done some for we've transmitted for some quarters, and then all of a sudden, Madam, can we be doing, look at this dialogue, does it match? I'm sure she didn't even go through it. She will answer as a scripter. He said, well, you didn't tell me you're a scriptwriter. I said, Madam, I don't go beyond my bounds.
Yes.
You called me in here to play a role. If I now come and say I'm a scriptwriter, Shola Fosudo that called me in, because they were looking for old-time actors, not these new-time actors. That's why they called me. And the way I surprised her, and because we were trained about timing, that's why today, I think before I take my breakfast, it will be around 11, 12. I won't feel hungry very early because of my job in NTA, my training. I've gotten used to it. She called me in Abuja. That's before they gave me the role that her office, described the office, we can meet the next day. I said, okay. What time? She said 10. Can I make 10? I said, okay. By 9:30, I was there. She was rushing around. After 10, I said, oh, she's late. She went straight to the receptionist. I'm sorry. I'm expecting so person. He called my name. Hey, madam, that's him behind you. She didn't do you know what I'm talking about? I said, somebody's coming from Ibadan. Felix, Omuni. Yes, madam, I heard you now. That's him. She now turned and saw me. We've never met before. And I said, sorry, are you Felix Omuni? I said, yes. No, but when I called you, you said you were in Ibadan. Yes, I just came from Ibadan this morning. Wow. And you came to time. The receptionist said, madam, he has been here for 45 minutes. So. Please come. You coffee? I say, fine. Just like that. So even when we finished agreement and say, how much do I pay? I say, that's one area I don't talk about. Me is, I want to do my best, not the money. Any amount you give me, I will collect. Say, what if I underpay you, madam? Take my word. Any amount you give to me, I will take.
Right.
My own interest is making sure I do my job well. That's all. And I say, So that little episode, and I say, I didn't tell you a writer. I would have involved you, and these people just write that. Even then, as the producer, you don't finish writing, and it's your series and everything. You go through them.
One thing you would have seen in the personalities that we have brought on the different episodes of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History of the Tunde Laniyan podcast is that most of them are multi-talented, they are multi-skilled, and they are very, very adept at their work. So also is Felix Omuni. We want to thank you for enlivening the Tunde Laniyan podcast with your great recall of experiences terminating in having to go to Abuja because of the display of another of your skill set that were not required by the acting role that you got, but that you still brought to bear so that the products can be excellent. That's the kind of people that we are looking at on the Tunde Laniyan podcast. People who are more driven by passion than by money. Of course, we all like to be paid well. We all like to work and live well. But that's not all that drives this generation of people that I'm talking about. They are driven more by producing excellence. And I want to thank you. Incidentally, Felix will be 70 next year. So, is a man who has acquired, amassed, and manifested great talents, great capacity, used his training well, and I believe that it would be a useful experience in the theater. And the last thing I want to ask you is about the funding of the arts world. An endowment was created in 1980, I think 89 or 89 by Babangida. That thing has not really worked.
Yeah,
the endowment for arts.
Yeah, because
how do you think it will be able to help, be put to use, and be able to help drive growth?
It was a fine idea, but they bungled it all. But then, this government could still do it.
Right.
Because in the first place, there are many youths out there. That is because opportunities have not been given to them to train them and they become productive, even in this industry. The government has to come in too.
You think that the endowment can do that?
The endowment can do it. First, starting with the serious-minded people. By the time they set one or two examples and people say, wow, this is productive, this is helping even the society, then it moves there. Because I've seen where money is poured on things that are not productive. This will bring in the youths.
Yeah.
First, those interested in it, and then they'll be trained, they'll be endowed in it, and then, the society itself will say, look, we're getting something from these people.
Yeah.
And they will not be lying idle. An idle hand is what brings
Devil's
workshop.
So, again, in terms of what we have discussed, getting these things on screen, on television, can the endowment be useful in partly paying for what the actors would need, and perhaps paying also partly for the time of the station?
Definitely. Because at the end of the day, they will waken these stations.
On that note, we come to the end of this episode, and we want to thank Felix. Thank you very much.
I appreciate
Thank you very much.
Finding me worthy.
You've been a worthy brother in the theater, and I pray that you will continue to enjoy sound health, to continue to contribute positively to the theater in Nigeria, and bring glory to our country through your skill sets and your talent.
Thank you so much.
Until we come again next week on another episode, keep watching, keep sharing the episodes of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History of the Tunde Laniyo podcast. Subscribe and receive alerts when we put on new episodes every Thursday at 6 p.m. Until then, it's bye from me.